Sometimes teachers will come up to me and say, Brian, I just can't teach writing the way that you're explaining. They just don't think they can pull it off the same way. And to those people, I say this.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
All right, today we're going to talk about saying something worth reading, or in other words, beating writer's block. Lots of times students have trouble just even knowing what to put on paper, and so we're going to address that right away. The thing I'm talking about today is called Read Like a Reader, Read Like a Writer. It's from Steve Pihaw's company, Teaching That Makes Sense. ttms.org is where to go, and it's a free download. It's a really good strategy. So what I'm going to do here, a student sent me this little article. It's from a magazine online, and it's jam-packed full of interesting stuff, so I got to read it to you. It's called Flight Risk. It says, a determined Saskatchewan truck thief has established a new benchmark for police chases. After being spotted by the RCMP near Watrous, the man ditched his first pickup and stole another from a farmer out in the field. Located from the air by the owner of the original stolen truck, also a pilot, he then rammed a cruiser to escape again. After 3 hours and hundreds of kilometers, police had OnStar remotely turn off the engine only to see the suspect try to swim across a lake. The officers borrowed a boat and fished him out. Proof again that the Mounties always get their man. So what I can do is there's 6 ways that I can sort of use my mind in order to think and respond to something somebody's written or even something somebody has said. And the first one is just to ask questions. And so all I do is generate some questions about this piece of writing, this article, and kind of turn it into a little piece of writing of my own. So did the perp really believe he could outrun the RCMP on open roads in the middle of the flatland prairies? There is nowhere to hide. Perhaps he just wanted to create an entertaining story for his fellow inmates. Maybe in something else would be like, I wonder if the thief thought he was in a movie when the plane appeared and started to tail him. So I'm asking questions about this. Was he some kind of superhero athlete to attempt a swim to freedom? So the next thing I can do is talk about how I feel, my emotional reaction to the piece of writing. I can't remember when an article has stirred up this much of my emotions. I was relieved that no one was hurt, that the officers had the presence of mind to avoid force and let the situation play out. A few times I chuckled to myself at the tenacity and creativity of the bad guy. Again, responding by talking about my feelings. In the end, I was glad that the deviant was apprehended. Let's try another one. Predict. So I can make predictions. What's going to happen next? I bet the officers who led this chase have retold the story countless times, or I assume new protocols were established by the RCMP after such a long and involved chase. I wonder what charges were handed out. It had to be more than just theft and resisting arrest. If you purposefully ram another vehicle with your own, that sounds like some kind of weapons charge to me. I'm predicting. Another option is to rate. This is just to evaluate the piece of writing. And I'm going to sort of evaluate how it was written. This article deserves a 5 out of 5. The author uses savory words like benchmark, ditched, rammed, and fished. The also a pilot was a well-placed, surprising interruption that added ironic humor to the story. My favorite sentence is the last. It is not only a strong finish to the piece, but a warning for all those who may be reading. Okay, so I've rated this piece of writing. Next, I can connect with it. I can try to identify and maybe this story reminds me of something I've read before, or maybe something I've experienced before, or a movie I've seen, or something like that. So I'm going to connect with this piece. I've never tried to run away or even avoid officers of the law, but I have a friend who did. When the police came to his house one night, he slipped out the back and hid in the grass next door. The plan seemed to work, except my friend's dog thought it was a game and was going berserk, trying to get to his owner in the grass. The police took their cue from the dog and found their man. I'm trying to draw a parallel or relate to the story in some way. And the last one, and probably the most difficult one, is to infer. This is reading between the lines, going beyond what's just on paper and kind of thinking deeper about it. I wonder how this whole thing ended. Imagine the adrenaline pounding through the culprit's veins for all those hours. It would be exhausting. Top that off with an escape swim and probably a fear of getting caught, and I bet those officers had to literally save him from the lake. So my inference is that this guy was exhausted and practically drowning by the end, and they have to save him from the water. And so that's infer. So there you go. There's the 6 ways in order to say something worth reading. Okay, I can respond to anything. I can show that I understand a topic by using these strategies. And again, beat writer's block. Thanks for listening.